Good morning. My name is Stephen York. I'm the pastor of the Stonington United Methodist Church in Stonington, Maine, and I'm preaching this morning on enthusiasm makes a difference. What do you get enthusiastic about? What excites you? Now, the word enthusiasm is an interesting word. It goes back in the Greek language. It literally means entheos, which in the Greek language means to be possessed by a god. Literally, to be possessed by a god, or to be inspired by a god. And it was a small g. You have to understand that Greek mythology, there were many gods in Greek mythology. We know that. And so the idea of enthusiasm was that it was something that just captivated people into action, to do something. Enthusiasm is more than just sort of a feel-good at some time kind of thing. Enthusiasm is what keeps us going even when it's not going well. I think of the quotation from Winston Churchill, who was Prime Minister during World War II. Winston Churchill said about enthusiasm, enthusiasm is what keeps you going between failure to failure. And when you look at the history of World War II, how much did he lead Britain through in that time of war until finally there came victory. So when I listen to Winston Churchill, I'm moved to the fact that enthusiasm is not about what drives you when all is going well. But enthusiasm is in spite of failure. Enthusiasm is being possessed by a goal or a vision that you're not going to give up even though it doesn't come easily. I see enthusiasm as being much more than this fly-by-night kind of here today, gone tomorrow sort of thing. Enthusiasm requires sweat. Enthusiasm requires fervency and dedication. Life is not easy. And whatever is important to you, whatever it is that you truly love, whatever it is that gets you out of bed in the morning to greet your day, whether it's sunshine or not, it requires enthusiasm if you're going to do something. It's very easy to allow the problems of life to affect us, or other people's moods, or perhaps even other people's lack of enthusiasm for what it is that we want to be doing. Enthusiasm in the word and in the original is internal. It is something that drives us to create. It is something that we've got to do in spite of the fact all odds are against us. How many times have people given up simply because someone thought it wasn't a good idea, or someone thought it couldn't be done? Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Company, said the people who say it can't be done and the people who say it can be done, both are right. It really is about a matter of attitude. It really is, I'm committed to this vision, this inspiration, this idea. It may or may not work. I may or may not always be successful. I may or may not be able to do everything that I want with it. But enthusiasm is what keeps me going. My question to you and to me this morning, and I ask this of myself, what is it that keeps us going? What is it that drives us to do the good things, to make the right choices, to do what it takes to make things work in our lives for others? I think enthusiasm requires, in the meaning in the Old English, it literally requires a devotion. What I want to ask you is, what are you devoted to this morning? What is it that you don't give up on? I'm hoping that one of your answers, and hopefully at the top of the list, is that you don't give up on yourself. I hope that you believe in yourself, that you believe that you are a person who is evolving and growing, whether you are 9 or whether you are 99. That the future is now. That the opportunities are in front of us. And what is it that we can do to make it work? Enthusiasm is what keeps us going even when we're discouraged. Enthusiasm is that spirit that says, I will not get knocked down and stay down. Someone has defined failure as that which knocks us down and keeps us down. I think, and I'm not although I love the Red Sox, I don't know all the scores of who hits what average. But I know one thing about the game. Nobody hits 100% of the time. But they keep getting up to bat. What is it that you keep working at? I am so moved to tears, and I'm going to talk about him sometime this fall, with the new poet laureate of the United States, W.S. Merwin, a marvelous poet. He is poet laureate, consultant to the Library of Congress, effective October 1st. And one of the things that I read was how much he revises his poetry over and over and over until it's finished. He said you can't change it anymore, and then he releases it. Or the work of Galway Kinnell, another great poet in Vermont. Some people get upset with him because he publishes poetry and then years later sees something he wants to change in it, and he revises it. He's noted for that. So when you're quoting his poetry, you've got to make sure you have the latest edition, because the early editions aren't his final product. But I have great respect for that. Same with Wendell Berry. You will read often in Wendell Berry's novels, I wrote this back in the early 1970s, but now it's 1992 and I thought it wasn't quite what it should be, so I've revised it. And it's marvelous to think that people can continue to grow and have enthusiasm for what it is that they are doing. What drives your spirit? What are you enthused about? What is it that moves you?